If you've ever thought about backpacking, but you had that voice in your head saying, well, what about bears? What if I get lost? What about other people out there? Well, you're not alone, but here's the truth. Backpacking is a lot safer than people think it is. And I would even argue that as long as conditions are right, spending a night out in the backcountry could even be safer than spending a night at your home. That is, if you focus on the right things. Hi everyone, I'm Justin and welcome to the channel. Let's hit the trail. Here we talk about all things hiking and backpacking, especially backpacking. So if that's your kind of thing, please give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. And in today's video, we are talking about how to stay safe while backpacking. Hi, future Justin here. I realized as I was editing this video together, I should probably put a disclaimer in here. All of these opinions are my own based on my personal experience in the backcountry. Only you are in charge of your own safety. So, back to the video. One thing you'll notice is some of the biggest risks out in the backcountry aren't even the ones that people worry about the most. And a few of the topics that we touch on at the end might surprise you. There's a lot that goes into safety in the backcountry. Much more than we can cover in this video. And actually some of the topics that we touch on today could probably even be their own video. So this video is going to be a little more high level, so we can touch on a handful of topics, but hopefully it'll be enough to help you feel more confident and comfortable before you head out into the backcountry. Most backpacking accidents don't happen because of over-the-top movie-like situations. They happen because of getting caught in bad weather, not having the right gear, taking a wrong turn, or just pushing a little too hard. It's usually small decisions stacking on top of each other, and that's actually a good thing because it means that most of these are preventable. So instead of thinking about safety as one giant topic, think of it as 3 different layers: awareness, preparation, and decision making. Most of backpacking safety really just boils down to not making dumb decisions repeatedly. So let's get into it. The first topic we're going to talk about is what I think is actually the most dangerous thing out there, and that is weather. If there's one thing that should be taken seriously every time, it's the weather. Weather is unpredictable, especially if you're up in some big mountains. Here in Colorado, you can go from blue skies to a thunderstorm in less than an hour. Before you head out on your trip, of course, make sure you check the forecast. Check it again the day before you leave. Check it the morning that you're leaving, and check multiple sources. Look at the temperature highs, the lows, wind speed, I think a lot of people overlook, and of course, precipitation. But here's where people mess up. People will pack for the forecast, not if things get a little colder or a little more wet than they're expecting. So instead, I think you should always pack for conditions that are going to be a little bit worse than you are expecting. Because weather apps are great, but they're also wrong. A lot. Now, I'm not saying that you should pack your fears and pack for a blizzard in the middle of the summer, though I guess that's not completely out of the realm of possibilities if you're in high enough mountains. But regardless, pack for conditions just a little bit worse than you might expect to see. What I really mean is always pack a rain jacket, even if there's a 0% chance of rain in the forecast. Pack an insulating layer like a puffy jacket in the middle of the summer, because you never know when temperatures are just going to drop or your particular campsite might be colder than what the forecast is saying. And carry some base layers or an extra set of dry clothes for camp and to sleep in. If you are hiking in some big mountains, consider starting a little bit earlier in the day. Try to be up and over any exposed areas or saddles or ridge lines before the early afternoon storms might come in. And if a storm does roll in on you while you're up high, just try to get down fast, try to get into some trees, and then just wait it out. Don't go hiking out in the middle of a thunderstorm without any coverage. Let's move on to the next topic, which is navigation. Getting lost is one of the other biggest issues and one of the easiest to prevent. Now, let's be real. In 2026, most people, including myself, are relying on their phones for navigation, and that's totally fine. But that's only if you're using it right. Always download your maps ahead of time and make sure you can navigate in offline mode. Before you go, make sure you look at your route and make sure you have a general idea of what the trail is going to look like. Make sure you have a battery bank that's a bigger capacity than you think you might need. And of course, make sure you know where the trail starts any major turns, and have a rough idea of the mileage that you're trying to cover. Don't simply just look at the line on your phone or on a map. Make sure you actually look around you and you're aware of your surroundings and where you are within the topography. When you're on the trail, make sure you check your location pretty regularly. I'd say about every 15 minutes, just make sure you look at your phone, make sure you're on the trail. If you see the landscape has changed, make sure you're on the trail and you didn't get off track. And when you get to a trail junction, just take 5 seconds, make sure you're heading the right direction. Don't just barrel down the wrong trail. If something feels off, stop immediately. Don't just keep walking hoping it'll fix itself, and make sure you get yourself back on track before you venture too far off and actually get lost. Let's move on to section number 3, and this is satellite communicators. And I think this is one of the best devices you can carry for safety in the backcountry. Devices like this InReach Mini will allow you to send messages, share your location, and call for help if needed. If you are using something like this, make sure you test it before you go. Send a test message to whoever you're going to be messaging, make sure they receive it, make sure they receive your location, and of course set up some preset messages like starting my trip or at camp, things like that. And before you go, and maybe this is going beyond satellite messengers, but make sure you give somebody your plan, your general itinerary, when you plan on starting, when you plan to be back, when they should start worrying, because peace of mind goes a long way, especially for those at home worried about you that probably think you're out there fighting a bear or something. So satellite messengers, I think at least one person in every group should have one, and if you're going solo, I definitely think you should have one. The one that I use is the Garmin InReach Mini 2. I still think it's one of the best options out there. I'll leave a link for it in the description if you'd like to check it out yourself. It's not cheap, but I think it's worth it for the peace of mind for yourself and for your loved ones at home. Now let's talk about something that doesn't always get discussed, and that is people. Most people that you'll meet out on the trail are great. Backpackers, I think, are some of the nicest people out there, but you still want to be aware. One thing you want to do is trust your gut. If something feels off or weird, it probably is, so make sure you create some space. That means you can speed up, you can slow down, step aside and let them pass if they're pretty close behind you, or of course take an extended break and just let some time pass and let them get further ahead. And if something does feel weird, just remember you don't owe anybody a conversation. You can just nod, say hi, and just keep walking. You don't have to stop and chat. Especially for solo female hikers, people can be a bigger concern, unfortunately. As I've already mentioned, make sure you share your itinerary with a friend or a loved one, have a check-in plan, and if it makes you more comfortable, feel free to carry a whistle or a personal alarm. My partner Anna actually carried a personal alarm when she was first getting into backpacking, and even brought along for some of the PCT. You can also keep things simple and low profile. If you are chatting with somebody and you're not super comfortable, don't share your itinerary or your campsites with them. And if someone asks questions that feel a little too personal, you don't need to answer. You can shut that right down. But the biggest thing is you don't need to be fearless out there. You just need to be aware and confident in how you respond. Let's move on to the next topic, which might ruffle some feathers, and that is, do you need a gun? And the short answer is no, you don't. Most situations out there aren't going to be resolved any better by having a weapon. They're going to be resolved by awareness, preparation, and decision making. For wildlife, just being aware and having proper food storage matters way more. And for people, trusting your instincts and creating space will go a long way. And for a lot of people, carrying a firearm can actually cause more stress, more complexity, and increase the chance for something to go wrong, which is kind of the opposite of what you're trying to accomplish out there. When it comes to animals, bear spray is actually a much better deterrent than firearms, and there's actually been studies on this. A long-term study looking at bear encounters in Alaska actually showed that bear spray was effective at stopping aggressive bear behavior in over 90% of encounters. Firearms were seen to be less effective, mainly due to the fact that the shot is going to be less accurate in high-stress situations, and to be quite frank, I'm sure you've heard it before, a bullet might just piss off a charging bear and not deter it. And even more importantly with this study was 98% of the people that used bear spray walked away with no injury. Even Bear Hunting Magazine states that bear spray is a more effective deterrent. I'll leave links in the description to some articles so you can check them out for yourself, but the point is that if you feel you really need to bring a gun out backpacking, you're probably better off just bringing bear spray. Plus, guns weigh more. And speaking of bears, next up, let's talk about wildlife. Wild animals are one of the biggest fears that people have, but in reality, they're probably one of the least risky things out in the backcountry. Most animals want nothing to do with you. And in reality, it's really your awareness and your behavior around food that determines how safe you are. Black bears, like we have here in Colorado, are really just interested in your food. And as a hungry backpacker, I can't blame them. So the safest approach is simple. Store your food properly. Always use a bear canister when it's required. And if you're in dense black bear territory and you don't want to bring your bear canister, use an Ursack. I personally wouldn't recommend a bear hang. Actually more and more agencies are claiming that bear hangs are ineffective or impractical in a lot of cases. And there's a reason bear hangs aren't allowed in a lot of bear-dense national parks. If you want to be safe, keep your food away from where you're sleeping, cook about 100 feet or more away from your tent, and anything that smells, means food, trash, toiletries, it all goes into an odor-proof bag or bear can at the end of the day. Now, I'll be honest, I don't want to be a hypocrite here, so I'll tell the truth. There are definitely times when I do not go all out with food storage. Sometimes I'll keep my food inside of my food bag, inside of my backpack, rolled up, inside of my vestibule, and a lot of backpackers I know do the same thing and they probably just don't want to admit it. Not saying it's a great idea, but it's a thing. But here's the trade-off. You're accepting more risk when you do that, so if you're newer or if you're in dense bear territory, just do it the right way. Now, if you do encounter a black bear, first thing is stay calm. Don't run away, back away slowly, make yourself look big, yell at it in a strong voice. Most of the time, they're just checking things out. They're not planning an attack. Grizzly bears, you have to be a little more cautious around. And I'll admit, I haven't actually done any real backpacking in grizzly bear territory. But if you are, make sure you always carry bear spray and have it accessible in a shoulder pocket or a side pocket or attached to your belt, somewhere where you can just bust it out in a split second. Make some noise while you're hiking, eat, sleep, and store your food in separate areas at least 300 feet apart. And one of the best ways to prevent a dangerous grizzly bear encounter is to actually hike in a group. I've read several times that there has never been a fatal attack on a group of 4 or more. So if you really want to be safe, hike in a group. Mountain lions are much rarer to see, which is good. They're much better at seeing you than you are at seeing them. But if you do see one, first thing is don't run. That will trigger their predatory instincts and they'll come after you. Back away slowly, make yourself look big, and try to pick up some rocks and some sticks to throw at it just in case. But the general rule of thumb for animals is to stay calm, make yourself look big, and create space. Hi, Future Justin here again. I figured now is a good time to mention that after 16 years and thousands of miles of backpacking, regardless of the area or the remoteness of the trail, I have never had a threatening wildlife encounter. So, just wanted to put that out there to give you a little bit of comfort and reassurance. Okay, back to the video. Let's move on to our next topic, which is staying warm. Getting cold is one of the fastest ways for your trip to go sideways, and hypothermia can actually hit even in mild conditions, especially if you're wet. Stay dry. If it's cold out and it starts raining, put your rain gear on early. Now, if it's warm out, your rain jacket could actually make you wetter with all the sweat from inside of it. So in some cases, at least personally, I think it's a bit better to get a little bit wet from the rain than have a sweaty, wet jacket and be wet yourself. But like I mentioned earlier in this video, that's why you always want to have a dry set of base layers or clothes for camp. So as soon as you stop moving, Put your dry clothes on and make sure you stay warm. Don't wait until you're freezing and questioning your life choices. Bring a puffy jacket even when you don't think you're gonna need it, and I highly recommend getting a quilt or sleeping bag that's rated for at least 10 degrees below your lowest expected temperatures. And I'm talking about comfort rating, not the limit rating. That said, no matter where you're hiking, unless it's always going to be hot outside, I highly suggest getting a 15 or 20 degree bag for 3-season backpacking. And don't forget the gloves. Cold hands suck. Now let's talk about first aid. And you don't need a massive first aid kit when you're backpacking, but you want to have the essentials covered. You know, have some bandages, some blister care, any necessary medications. I'm part of the emergency response team at work, and so at work I have this really big first aid kit with everything you can imagine in it. But when I go backpacking, I have this. I usually just carry some Band-Aids, some ibuprofen, some tweezers, some nail clippers, some mini scissors, a little bit of gauze, some Leukotape for blisters, and a little bit of floss. Not necessarily for first aid, but kind of part of my hygiene kit that's also in here. But you want to know how to use everything that you bring in your first aid kit when you're going backpacking. You don't want to bring too much stuff, especially if you don't know how to use it. And if you or someone in your group does unfortunately suffer a substantial injury, well, it's another reason why you should have a satellite communication device. So you can press SOS and call for help. But more important than any first aid kit or satellite messenger is, guess what? Awareness, preparation, and decision making. Now let's move on to our last topic, which might seem pretty simple, but it's very critical, and that is simply knowing your limits. This might be one of the most important things in this whole video. Know your comfort level and don't push beyond that. Now, if you're hiking with a group and you're trying to level up your skills, I get it. Yeah, that's when you're going to push a little bit further. But if you're hiking solo, make sure you know your limits and your skill level. It's easy to compare yourself to other people, especially people that you're watching on social media. Big miles, long trips, tough terrain, really remote areas. But the safest trips are going to be the trips that match your experience. Start simple, build up over time, know your limits, and don't get in over your head. Even experienced hikers like myself have days where things just feel off. Listen to that. There's no pressure while you're out backpacking out in the backcountry except the pressure that you put on yourself. On a recent trip, actually, I was out solo and I was scrambling up these rocks to get to this viewpoint, which I had been to before the previous summer. And I was climbing up these rocks, and as I was getting towards the top, there's this chute that I had to climb up to get to this good view. But there's a little bit of snow and ice in there, and being solo, I didn't want to risk it, because if something goes wrong, I have nobody out there to help me. So I decided to turn around and forego the view. Now, would I have made it up there? More than likely, yeah, but I didn't want to risk it. So I turned around, didn't get the big view, but I still had a fantastic trip and I do not regret that decision. No one is grading your trip. Be safe, that's the most important thing. Backpacking doesn't have to be dangerous, and in most cases, it's not dangerous at all. With a little bit of preparation and the right mindset, it can be one of the most freeing things you'll ever do, and a lot less dramatic than your imagination makes it out to be. Now, I couldn't cover everything in this video, so if you have any safety tips, drop them in the comments. I would love to see them. And if you're just getting started in the world of backpacking, we've got lots of other videos and vlogs on this channel to help you get out there and inspired. But that is going to do it for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that fun stuff. And until next time, I'll see you out on the trail. Cheers.